Welcome to another episode of Top Advisor Marketing. I'm your host today. I won't be speaking much because Mr. Matt Halloran is here and he is going to go off on some really cool stuff. We've put together the best of 2023 episodes. I think we chose 10. It was not easy, but these are the ones that really that stood out to us. Matt's going to go through them all. He's going to give you some really incredible quotes from some really smart people. We're really grateful. We had all these guests. We're grateful for all the guests we have. And we are super grateful of all of our listeners. Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun. We've got well over 400 episodes recorded here. We've become so much more comfortable doing this stuff. And thank you so much. Happy holidays, by the way. This is supposed to be released on December 26th. Hope you're having a great time with your family and friends. And it's a special time of year. It's mostly a special time because we all get to hang out together, right? And we're so busy. It's nice to give ourselves a little bit of space to I was going to say relax, but for a lot of people, the holidays aren't relaxing. But they do force you to engage and hopefully enjoy. And Matt, you had a great story the other day about one of the things that you've been doing for a while now with as a Christmas tradition or a holiday tradition, I should say, for you. And I'm just curious if you can share with everybody, because I think it's a lovely.
I've got two things. Should I be wearing the Santa hat, dude?
Well, all the people listening don't give two hoots about that.
Well, that's a good point. And hey, there's something else. So you were just talking about
but our YouTube listens or watches, I should say, keep going up. So,
well, so speaking of those, real quick, I'll talk about the holiday thing in a minute. We went over 500,000 downloads last week. Kirk, did you? 500,000 downloads to this show.
I didn't want to break it to our team. They're going to listen to this, but we have 80,000 from our previous podcast host channel. So we're actually close. I think we're actually over 600,000.
Wow.
I can't remember how many we had, but so we're probably
close. The mod marketing for the 21st Century channel.
Yes, but we also had we were using
Be Your Own Loud
channel for the first year.
Okay.
In a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all good. 500,000, whatever, 600,000. We have a lot of listens.
That doesn't seem to impact you as much as it seems to impact me. I think that's a big deal. All right. Holiday.
I can't wait to get to 1 million.
I know, dude. 1 million is going to be.
But I just got to get better. That's the problem, man.
Yeah. Well, we're all working on that, brother. All right. So holiday traditions. I think for us, the biggest holiday tradition that is most impactful to me and my family is Friendsgiving.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we really tried to do a number of years ago, and actually this goes all the way back to when my wife and I were working at Boys Town before we even had our own children, was really just trying to be that very open, receptive, inclusive, non-judgmental house. And it's really grown now to the point where we have a lot of friends who come on Friendsgiving, which is the day after Thanksgiving, the Friday, where everybody else is out trying to kill each other shopping. We're all hanging out with people who we love and want to feel loved over the holidays. So if they're estranged from their family, or they don't have family around, or they don't have family alive, we have a lot of people who come over and show up and hang out with us. And we feel very grateful for that. Now, you actually have a really cool family one that's very family focused. So why don't you share with the audience about the cake?
Yeah. So my wife is, her family are from Cyprus and immigrated to Canada in the early 70s. And so on New Year's Day, we have all of her family. So her brother has 4 kids. We have 4 kids. So it's lots of fun. And Grandma and Grandpa. Unfortunately, Grandma died a couple years ago, but my wife keeps this tradition up by baking an almond flour cake with syrup and almonds in it. And it's a delicious cake. But we cut it up into as many pieces as there are people. We always have one for Grandma, which is Yaya in Greek. And we, from youngest to oldest, everybody puts their finger on the piece, and there would have been money wrapped in tinfoil baked in the cake. Except Grandpa, which is Bapu in Greek, he is incredibly slick that he will help grab a piece, and he will slip money in the kids' pieces if he wants more winners. And basically, if you get the coin, you get to make a wish for the year. But he is really great at for the youngest ones, the little ones, getting them some money. It's really quite something to watch. I don't know how he does it, but he's slick as can be. Anyway, but what ends up happening is everybody has their hands on their finger on their piece of cake, and it's like you're doing like a big cheer for the family. It's just, but it's just a really sweet, fun time, and then you get to eat the beautiful piece of cake afterwards. But anyway, that's just a little tradition that from another country I've always enjoyed. I utterly loved actually learning other cultures and my wife's family's culture. So that's a really cool tradition that we have. Anyway, so we're going to jump into these episodes. So happy holidays again. Matt, number 1 is how to become a more influential advisor with Dr. Daniel Crosby. And this guy, I think most of you probably know, if you haven't go back and listen to this. It's episode 402. Yeah. And so let's talk about this episode, which I know has so much gold in it.
Well, it not only has gold, but it was really affirming for us, right? So, Dr. Crosby is probably the most approachable PhD I've ever met in my life. I love seeing him at conferences. He's just a genuinely happy, delightful person. But the first thing that he said, like right out of the gate of the episode, was there's no competency more important as influence for a financial advisor. And it's influence. He also said that influence is like the Swiss Army knife of being a good advisor. From the guy who studies behavioral finance, right? I absolutely love that. And then the cool thing about this is, so he's a geek like I am when it comes to research-based stuff, when it comes to personality types, behavior. He is a PhD in behavioral psychology. You know, I was actually a practitioner of behavioral psychology at Boys Town. So we talked about Dr. Robert Cialdini, which many people have heard us. You and I spent a lot of time breaking down Cialdini's 7 Principles of Influence. And he talks about reciprocity as the reason why influence is so important. So when you're continuously dropping in what he referred to as spreading sunshine out into the world, that comes back, right? And it does. That's just the nature of how we behave as human beings. And in fact, a lot of times it comes back at a much greater increment than you put out there. And so influence is super, super powerful. This is the marketing of the future. And Dr. Crosby, we did not, when him and I were doing our pre-record call, he was like, "Matt, I got this great quote." And I was like, "All right, dude." And that's when he said, influence is the Swiss Army knife of being a good financial advisor. I was like, "Dude, we're going to put that on like shirts and stuff." And he's like, "All right, sounds cool." So episode 402, just such a great episode.
Yeah. You just said that influence is the future of marketing. It's also the now of marketing.
Yeah.
Right. And you just came back from Market Council Summit and some other really great conferences here in the last 3-4 months. And what you're hearing more and more, as you've expressed or shared with me, because I wasn't there, is that more and more experts are talking about influence, fans, compete in the expertise economy.
Yeah.
And it's gaining momentum all the time. And we're not going to stop talking about it. We're 450 plus episodes into it. And we pretty much talk about that all the time.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's really exciting for us to see more and more thought leaders and more advisors consuming, understanding, and pursuing influence. Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Daniel Crosby.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thanks for spending the time. And I'm pretty sure Matt's extended a come on the show anytime you'd like.
I really
offer to you.
I have.
Yeah.
Actually, almost all of the people we're going over, dude, are going to be repeat guests just because they did such a great job on the show.
So number 2, Your Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Shooting Videos with Katie Braden, episode 395. Thank you so much, Katie. Some great nuggets in here too. Let her rip.
Yeah. So Katie is somebody who I am very grateful to actually call a friend, even outside of work. She's just her energy is unbelievable. And I start the episode off by talking about how I've learned more about video from following Katie on social media than I have from any other person, period. I watch her content regularly. I'm always trying to do better on video because it's a discipline, right? And it's something that you have to practice. And the really cool thing about Katie is she, much like the principle of reciprocity that we were just talking about with Daniel Crosby, she put a course in our academy. It's a video marketing 201. So in the PodRocket Academy, in our intermediate level, and we're going to talk more about the academy in 24. But here's the deal: there is a course in there that teaches you anything you need to know about shooting really good video. And the other thing that I really like about Katie, she's very, very authentic. I remember the first video that she had shared when she had just gotten back from the gym, and she was, not done up, and she was sweating and she was breathing really heavy, and she was talking about this epiphany that she had when she was at the gym. I think people, Kirk, I think they think that it has to be so highly produced, and there is a time and a place for that. In fact, Katie talks about that a lot, that there is a time and a place for scripting and high-end production of video, but there's also absolutely a place for people to truly feel like they're getting the pure essence of the Kirkness, the Katie-ness, the Mattness, right? And that's really important to keep in mind. Mm-hmm. And I love her for that. So yeah, that episode, the energy's there. She's sharing so much great there. It's packed with actionable tips. Because Katie is very systematic with that. She was an advisor. She understands how advisors think. It was a great episode.
Yeah. I think in what she was saying, that epiphany about basically progress over perfection. Mm-hmm. I know that we record video of podcasts like we're doing here, and we push them out to YouTube for our clients, our managed influence acceleration clients. And we've had some feedback that, and it's enough people to say what I'm about to say, which is there's still a lot of people, or too many, who are afraid to be on camera. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, it's just one of those things you just got to start doing. Was Katie say the scariest part of being human is putting ourselves out there?
Yeah.
You just have to do it. I stutter, have long pauses, look around. I'm right now everything I can not to clean like a very small smudge on my glasses. I'm gonna do that when you start talking.
All right, that sounds fair, dude.
I don't care. It's just like, it doesn't have to be perfect. So, because we're certainly not. And the truth is it's shown that when you show a little bit of personality, humanness, imperfection, people actually love that because they feel connected to you, because they know they're not, they know you're not, and you're not trying to be perfect. And that can be a real huge connection point between human beings. So if you're trying to be great on video, what you really want to do is try not to be perfect. So we should all be pretty good at that. Number 3 here. Yep. Tell life-changing stories, even if you're not a natural storyteller. Here's how with Kristen Lucan, episode 404.
So she has her own podcast. It's called Money's Emotional. She's actually a client of ours, and became a client of ours after she was on the Top Advisor Marketing podcast, because she saw the process that we had, how much due diligence that we did, how prepared we were, and how systematized we were, and how structured we were, which is a really, really big honor. Storytelling. So we talk about the perfect content formula. We used to call it the perfect podcast formula, but the perfect content formula is storytelling, education, entertainment, call to action. And Christine really talked about storytelling, right? The reason why she is such a great storyteller is because of practice. For those of us who love telling stories, and Kirk, I love telling stories, and you also know that I love embellishing the stories that I tell. But the
No,
reason why
personal ones, not work.
personal ones, yeah. In fact,
That's a sign of a great storyteller, though, isn't it? Because
I sure
it's not
hope
like
so.
you're just it's just getting caught up in the moment
Yeah.
of how it's almost like this is my perception of something, and it was this great for me, even if it was, anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to digress for a moment. I actually called one of my Navy buddies a little while ago, and I said, dude, I tell this story all the time. Do you know how true this is? And he's like, it sounds like it happened. I was like, crap. Anyway, so there's a couple of things that Christine talks about in this podcast that I really want to highlight. And the main one is, so she's a financial coach, so she's a little bit different than the normal financial advisor. But there's a huge market for financial coaching out there, and she also really talks about that whole emotional connection with money and how to deal with those emotional connections. And one of the things that happened to her, one of the personal stories that she shared that I loved so much, was that she totally crashed and burned in her 20s financially. And it had to do with her ex-fiance. I mean, it was personal, right? And one of the cool things about her is she doesn't hide the emotion. But the fact that she was willing to be open and share about that specific story really, really connects her with her audience and also connects her with the people that they help. Because a lot of financial advisors think that they have to come across as being perfect and always making the most wise financial decisions. But it's actually the opposite. And that is a direct quote from Christine in this. We think as financial professionals that people want us to be perfect. It's actually the exact opposite. So guys, listeners, listen, check out Money is Emotional. She gets a substantial amount of people listening to her show. And it's a really, really great one. And it's something that all financial advisors need to pay attention to. If you're not dealing with the emotional aspects of money, outsource it to somebody who knows how to manage it, because it will make the relationship better.
I'm sorry, did I mispronounce her name? I think I said Kristen. I don't know why, but you said
It's
Christine.
Christine Lucan.
I'm sorry, Christine.
That's all right.
We appreciate you.
She
Sorry
will
about
forgive
that.
you. I'm sure she's been called worse, brother. So,
yeah. Oh, it says Christine right here, but on our notes, our outline, not a script. For all you listeners, I did clean my glasses while Matt was talking. Number 4 on our list: advisors step away from the hard sell with Samantha Russell and Susan Thader. Episode 415.
So something that all of our listeners have heard both of us say repeatedly throughout all of the podcast is nobody wants to be sold to anymore. Everybody wants to buy from you, but you have to be able to position yourself in the marketplace so that they will learn who you are, they will start building trust, and they will like you, so that they will be more apt to purchase from you. And this is it, right? So the quote from this one that I absolutely love, which is a really, really short quote, but I think really is the entire essence of that podcast, is I'd like to hire you, not I want to have you pitch me your product. And the only way that you can really do that is really creating really engaging content, organic content, in leveraging marketing to grow your business. It's about sharing that content in a way that people value that. So many of you know Samantha Russell. One of the reasons why a lot of people really follow Sam is because of how open she has been about her journey and the recent loss of her husband. And so this sort of level of authenticity is really vital and very important. And you're going to hear that through almost every single solitary one of these top 10 that we're highlighting today, Kirk. Is it's so important for you to truly be your authentic self. And so, in fact, I think you're the one who told me that was the most used word in 2023 was authentic. And I think it's for a good reason. It's not because of that's what marketers are doing.
You told me, by the way.
Oh, did I? Damn it. Okay. Now I was going to give you credit for
Mr.
that.
Research.
Yeah,
that was a great podcast, and Samantha and Susan are just full of wisdom, ideas, experience, expertise, all those things. and they're incredible to have on our show. And I know a lot of you follow them on social media because of that. And we've done some webinars
Yeah.
with FMG, and that have been really huge numbers. So we're hoping to do more of that stuff in 2024. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Number 5.
That was very subtle, Kirk. Very subtle.
Subtle. That's me. I was just reading my profile. In this profile too, we have just to understand myself better. And man, it's really, really good. It's called Culture Index. If you want to know, there's a free shout out to Jackie Lord, who helps us with some of that stuff. So, number 5, top podcasting takeaways from Queer Money Podcast with David Otten and John Ottenschneider.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce that right?
You did. You did.
Oh
so
gosh.
So here's the thing.
Episode 424.
Yeah. God, dude. They're heroes of mine. And one of the reasons why is because they have just put out unbelievable levels of content, and they've gotten so much notoriety. They're in the top 400 business podcasts in North America. They're sponsored by Capital One, dude. They had lots of fits and starts too. That was the other really cool thing that we talked about the episode, is it wasn't like when they launched the show, it sucked. They knew it sucked. It didn't matter because they realized that there was such a huge gap in the LGBTQI plus community that nobody was really talking to them about money in language that they understood and could relate with. It's so cool, dude. They're the number 1 podcast, which it's funny because they say they're the number 1 gay podcast, but they are the number 1 podcast in the gay community in North America for financial needs. It was such an honor to have them on the show. It was such an honor to be on their show. They're unbelievable. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up isn't just because they're sponsored and they're putting out so much great content. It really has to deal with really, really leaning into your niche, but more importantly, sticking with it, because what it's them, they're together, they're married. David and John are married. They're a couple. And so there's the couple dynamic, but then there's also 2 hosts dynamic, which is difficult to manage, especially when you have one or multiple guests. And I think they've done a really, really great job. They have all of these systems that we talk about on the podcast on how to know who's going to talk and where. They don't do scripting either, Kirk. They have bullet points and basically say John or David, just like we do. They were really excited about learning about MindMeister, which is a product that you and I have used for years. But anyway, that was the episode 242 or 424 was absolutely fantastic, and just a testament of why you need to stick with it.
Yeah, that was a great episode. And Dave and John, thank you so much for hanging out with us, with Matt. I wasn't there, but I'm always there in spirit, I suppose.
You
in
are.
Marketing or something. Yeah, lots of great stuff there. And talk about putting yourself out there, right? Being a niche podcast, not feeling great about your start, sticking with it because you were purpose driven. Yeah. And you knew, the community that means so much to you that you're a part of needed what you do. So hats off to David and John. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for what you do. Number 6, I feel like I know you. How to turn your Twitter audience into fans with Thomas Copelan, episode 403.
So Thomas was at Market Council Summit, and he came up to me, gave me a big hug, and he's like so grateful for the auxiliary guidance that our organization has given him over the years, and also given him the strength and the courage to really try new stuff. I need everybody to understand this guy's growing his whole practice on Twitter. That is not a joke. And people come in and they are ready to buy. They're ready to buy. That's it. You need to know nothing else. He talks about his system, on what he shares on Twitter, how much he shares on Twitter, how he manages it with, running a very successful practice. And when I hung out with him at Market Council Summit recently, he's had to hire other advisors now, Kirk, he's grown to the point now where he's only taking the top of the top of the top people who are coming through his marketing sequence. But the other thing that a lot of people don't understand is he's been doing it for years, dude. Like, he has put in the time, he's put in the reps, he's been consistent. And he's just doing such a great job. In fact, from the stage when we were on the marketing panel at Market Council Summit, I shouted him out because I knew that he was there with wealth.com. And I was like, look, everybody, if you don't believe anything we're saying, then just go talk to an advisor. His name is Thomas Copelan. He's right back. And he waved in the back of the room. I said, listen, you need to go talk to him because he's going to support everything that we're saying from the stage. And his whole foundation, which is why, we believe, and again, the perfect content formula, storytelling, education, entertainment, call to action, is his whole thing is education. He provides so much education, Kirk, that people just, Thomas is my guy because he's been teaching me for years. And it works really, really well. And I love, he's just a wonderful human being. And I'm so grateful for his success. And he's such a great model that shows everything that we've been talking about for the last 7 years can truly work in a financial advisor's practice.
You just said something so important there. I hope everybody's paying attention. They've educated me so much. They're my guy. Mm-hmm. They're my person. That's the relationship that people have with you when they're listening and you don't know they're listening, but they are, like, they're there. And that's the coolest thing about helping is you have to, when you're sitting here like us right now, you have to recognize that somebody's listening, being inspired, educated, challenged, maybe a laugh from time to time, although we're really not that funny, but you laugh all the time and I appreciate you for that. So that's really the essence of building influence. And influence is a good word, but sometimes it's a bit frustrating because it seems like it's got to be this highly over professionalized thing.
Yeah.
It's not really the truth. Influence is about being warm. It's about being honest. The word of the year, authentic, all those things, and just putting yourself out there and letting it go. It's also about allowing yourself to get better, all those things. So thank you, Thomas Copelan. I wonder if his name is really pronounced Tomas, but I don't know.
But he does go by Thomas. He's not a big fan of Tom. I made that mistake when I was hanging out with him. So.
I'm just saying, I'm having fun with that because I, on the side, I coach a AAA hockey team here in Toronto. Or help coach. That's a better word. And we had a gentleman from Czech Republic or Czechia who was here for the last 3 months, who coaches the Bulgarian national team and the Bulgarian under 20 team. And he coaches a university team in Pilsen, Czechia. And really great guy, young guy, like 36, I think. And he just spent 3 months learning about hockey in Canada. And he just left on the plane to go to Iceland to do some Olympic qualifying games to coach that team. And this guy was the most humble. He wasn't allowed on our bench because he wasn't certified in Canada, but he's like 10 times the coach I'll ever be. But he would do anything to help us. Anyway, that's a crazy tangent I just went on, but I told myself I was going to mention him in a podcast, and he'll be through the moon excited.
Well, what's his name?
Tomas Saperko.
There you go. Okay.
We call him Seppi. Yeah.
Nice.
That's his hockey name. Anyway, so nice when you have people in your life. But Thomas, thanks for being in our life. We appreciate you, and for all the amazing stuff you're doing for people trying to build their wealth, grow their wealth, and the example that you set. Right, the example that you set for your peers is incredible. So thank you so much for your efforts, and come back anytime on our podcast. So number 7, my marketing isn't working. How to make it effective with Mary Kate Gullick. Yeah. Episode number 419. Mary Kate's a powerhouse.
Yeah, so she's with FICOM now. She was with Carson when I interviewed her for this show, and because her and I talk about this all the time, because advisors will come in and they'll be like, marketing doesn't work. My marketing's not working. And one of the first quotes that Mary Kate said, which I think is total gold, is, I'm a huge believer in the stop doing list when it comes to marketing for advisors, because advisors are just adding and adding and adding and adding. And her premise was, no, I think you need to be taking things away. But the last thing that Mary Kate said, which we're going to sound like a broken record here, and this isn't actually why we chose all of these episodes. I want to be very, very clear. But the idea is, if people don't see your human side, it's not going to make you more trustworthy. So her actual quote is, because I really want everybody to hear this, is, hiding who you actually are and not letting people see your human side is not going to make you more trustworthy. People want to trust. They want to trust you. You have to give them the opportunity to trust you. And the best way for you to do that is to really, truly be yourself. So one of the things that's really nice, we don't go out and seek people who actually agree with our message. In fact, there are a lot of times, in fact, episode 8, by the way, the one that we're about to talk about, him and I don't see eye to eye on a whole bunch of stuff. But Mary Kate, when she offered that up, I just felt a really, really strong connection that Kirk and I, what we have been building here at ProudMouth for the last 7 years, we're really on the right track, because it's not just us feeling this way. It's not just us thinking this way. It's a lot of other really great marketing minds. So yeah, Mary Kate, I'm so happy
one of the things that Mary Kate, thanks for being on the show. We appreciate you. One of the things that what she's saying is so important, and we say something very similar. They're really the same thing, slightly different ways of saying them, is do what you can consistently do well.
Yeah.
If you can only do 5 things consistently well and 5 you can't, get rid of those other 5. Yeah. Be really great at the stuff you're doing. Dig in and own that. And when you get momentum and efficiencies built there, or you outsource it, which is almost always the best decision for a lot of advisors, particularly content creation, the stuff that we're doing with managed influence acceleration. The reason is because when you get the core done and you're really great at that, everything else gets a little bit easier, but there's still so much more to do. Yeah. And sometimes people, work with us and they say, or anybody doing a podcast, well, podcasting didn't work. Well, what do you mean podcasting didn't work? What you really mean to say is, my podcast that I didn't push out to all my clients, that I didn't properly push out on social media, that I didn't have an email for, didn't include it in my newsletter, didn't talk about it, didn't invite guests on, didn't prepare my show, was too rushed, too hurried, didn't take it seriously enough, and blah, 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 blah. Like, that's what you really meant to say. And if they really heard themselves, what they're really at and what they're really paying attention to or not, the story, the answers are in there for you, my friends. This is not a thing that doesn't work. It's a thing that you have to figure out how to weave in and do it long enough to make it work. And that's what marketing has become. It wasn't, it's always been like that to a degree. You've given examples. One of them you talked about was Thomas Copelan being great on Twitter. Yeah. For many years, I'm guessing a decade, and it could be longer. But how's Thomas doing right now? How's his business? Pretty good?
Pretty good.
Yeah. It's a funny thing when you put the time in and you put yourself out there and you consistently do it and you just keep getting better and better, great stuff happens. Yeah. And that's part of putting yourself out there, is believing that people want to hear from you and then showing up and doing great stuff. So we're on to the next one, which is number 8 on our list. I don't think these are in any particular order, by the way.
No, I don't think so.
No, they're just the top 10, just in case everybody was wondering. I didn't mean to steal the number 1. The first one's Thunder. Daniel.
Yeah, that's all right, though.
Dr. Crosby. So number 8 is 4 proven ways to increase your influence and win new clients with Bill Cates. That is episode 412.
So Bill also runs the Top Advisor podcast. And I remember, you probably remember this too, when he came to us and said, hey guys, I want to name my podcast this. And you and I were like, that's not a problem. Mostly because it's Bill Cates. If you don't know who Bill Cates is, I actually don't know what rock you've been living under. In fact, he's got a new book coming out, The Language of Referrals, which I'm really excited about for him, because his whole game is the referral game. And it's fun to me because he and I don't see eye to eye on a couple of things, because we really firmly, push towards this give, and he still thinks the ask. And the fun part about it is him and I agreed at the end of this episode, then it isn't an or, it's an and. So if you're doing influence marketing, which is what we teach here at ProudMouth, and if you're doing the referral ask in the systems that he's built, and you do them together, that's really proven ways to accelerate your influence. The other thing about Bill is he is such an educator. By the way, he's a National Speaker Hall of Fame speaker. If you're looking for a great keynote speaker, he's unbelievable. But he also put a course in our academy, Business Planning 203, right? It's just 8 steps to becoming a super referable person to your clients. I just summarized the title. It's something a little different. But listen, you still have to have a referral strategy. In fact, part of our 9 podcast growth tactics has some of Bill's brilliance sprinkled in there. So by the way, his podcast is wonderful. It's a wonderful companion podcast to what we're doing here at the Top Advisor Marketing Podcast, because he's truly interviewing people who are killing it, who are in the field killing it. And I highly recommend that people subscribe to that one too.
Yeah, you got the title pretty much bang on. It sounds like you actually might have made the title for that, because it's got superlatives in there. You said super referable. Do you guys get the pun there? Punny. Okay. So yeah, I think what you just said there, I really loved, is that you had a debate with another professional, and I love debate. I think there's so much learning to be had listening to people debate and how their minds. And I think the greatest thing about debate is somebody else's ability to influence how you think about something, because you learn so much from that. And we're on to number 9, but thank you, Bill. Appreciate you. Thanks for putting the course in our academy, and for being around ProudMouth for these last couple of years. So number 9, how to conquer the compliance beast with Mr. Mad Dog Matt Halloran.
Yeah.
Episode number 438. I should have done that with a little bit more maybe energy to represent you, but I did it my own way. Here we are.
Yeah. You got to be you, brother.
I'm not going to sing Frank Sinatra's song, but oh my gosh.
Okay, now I just really want to hear you sing the Frank Sinatra song.
My jokes are, we said we were going to be a little more goofy today just for fun, because it's, holidays, everybody gets goofier, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going too far here. So,
well, this was something I'm really passionate about this. Everybody knows that I love podcasting and interviewing, and that's really something that obviously we built an entire business surrounding that. But I don't think people really understand how involved I am from a compliance standpoint. I actually read the entire, whatever it was, 3,000 pages of the SEC final rule. I'm always reading all of the FINRA updates. I meet with all of the compliance organizations that we have relationships with. I'm the one who answers their questions. Kirk and I have built these 5 areas of redundancy when it comes to compliance. And so we really got pretty deep in this episode. And I think it's a great episode for advisors to actually share with their compliance departments, if their compliance departments are resistant to allowing you to create long form content, not just podcasting, but long form content. But there really are 3 key takeaways from the show. And I love saying these, and I'm just going to say them again. You have to shift your mindset on how you view compliance. Number 2, you have to make compliance happy. They're there to help you. And the best way to keep compliance happy is to not say stupid things. You all know what you're allowed to say. Stop trying to push the limits. It doesn't help you. And if you do these things, compliance will actually look forward to working with you, which will make everything happen faster. And we have a process. Everything that we have built, all of the 7,000 plus episodes we've done, these 75,000 social media posts have all been able to get out there because they are compliance approved through our specific process. The areas of redundancy that we have are vitally important. We're always making sure that we have checks and balances in place. And I absolutely love it. So anybody who's listening, if there is a compliance person that you're struggling with when it comes to creating long form content, I'm more than happy to have conversations with compliance people. I know what they're asking. I know what they want. And I can also hopefully help position you to get your stuff approved more quickly. So 438, man, send that on to your compliance peeps and let's get them to start thinking about long form content differently.
Yeah. Did you say 5 areas of redundancy? Because it says 4 in our.
Yeah, so I think I actually added another one since we did the episode, to be honest, Kirk. So,
I
I know I
was
did.
about to make fun of you, and now you're making me look bad because you're just so smart.
I think,
okay.
I think I broke.
Let's get to number 10.
Okay,
This guy is brilliant. Oh my goodness. He's not brilliant. He's just really passionate about influence, helping people, and growing a great company. The Growth Minded Advisor's Path to Influence with Kirk Lowe, episode number 435.
Okay, dude, I'm going to embarrass
Halloran because
I'm going to embarrass the hell out of you on this. Just so everybody knows.
Down.
Yeah, I'm not toning it down because it's so funny. I was just talking with somebody else this week. Actually, it was I was interviewing. I'm sorry. Oh, that's so bad. Anyway, I was just interviewing somebody yesterday. Chloe Moore is her name, actually. So I was interviewing her yesterday for this show, and I was talking about you, Kirk Lowe, and because she had a co-host, and she has some very, very close friends in financial services that they do a lot of business with, and I just want everybody to understand. Kirk and I have a process for everything that we've built here, and part of that process is this growth-minded brainstorming thing that Kirk and I do on a regular basis. And all of the quotes that I'm going to go ahead and share here are a result of this mind melding thing that you and I have been able to do over the last 7 years. Accelerating your influences isn't a secret. It's a system. And one of the reasons why I think you and I have worked so well together, not just on the show, but in the world of business, is because you take big ideas and then help create actionable systems that are repeatable that our team is able to execute to make sure that our clients get great products and services. And the other thing that I love that you said in this episode is you've got to choose influence. You've got to choose that pathway and hit it. Be aware of all the wins along the way, not just the revenue wins, because they're going to be there if you do the right things. That you were so fired up when you said that, dude. I was so happy.
I don't remember saying it, but yeah,
you were wound up, man. Yeah. It was awesome because we were talking about something we were both super wicked passionate about, and
well, that's the really interesting thing about podcasting. We've said this many times, but it's worth saying many more times. Is that when you're in the moment of a podcast, you say things that you've never said that way before that become absolute gold, or it might not even be the perfect thing for you, but somebody else is like, I got it now. And that's why communicating all the time about what you know and what you're experiencing and what you don't know are so critical to you connecting with people.
Yeah. Dude, this is a really long episode. We're breaking my rule.
Yeah.
I'm blaming
Isn't
you.
One of your rules break all the rules, though?
No, I'm just blaming you as the host of this one that this went long.
I got that book behind me. Right? That's a book? Break all the rules?
Totally, dude. Yeah. Screw the rules.
I don't remember the author now. Sorry. Author of that book.
All right, Kirk, wrap this puppy up, man. Let's bring this holiday episode home.
Yeah, so I've got a section here called Call to Actions. So are you guys ready? Do not leave. Please do not leave. Because there must be a really great bit of wisdom coming here in the next 30 seconds. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. 2024 is upon us now. Man, it seems to fly as we get older. I hope you slow down, enjoy it. I hope you slow down, enjoy it personally, but I also hope you slow down, enjoy it professionally. When you resets, those are some of the most powerful times of the year. Sometimes it's when you go on vacation, which is annoying, right? All these ideas when you stop and you get some time to think. If you get some time to think over the holidays, or as we get ready to start the new year, or if it's right now listening to this podcast or watching our YouTube, we call that video cast. When you're preparing for 2024, when you're looking back at where you've been, think about what you want to be different and what you're prepared to do to get the consistent difference in your business. And when you think about marketing and how important it is there something you should be doing, something somebody else should be doing, and who are you looking to advice? We hope you're coming here to listen to advice. And part of that is also listening to the advice of some of the guests that we have. We are increasingly choosy about who we bring on here to add value to your world. We do not take that lightly. So as you get ready for 2024, think about how you're going to build influence. Whether you're starting, whether you're taking your first step, your third step, 10th step, doesn't matter. Think about how you're going to do that. Have a plan from all the learning you've had just today. Just think about all the learning just today going over these highlight episodes. Do what you can. Do it well. If you have to outsource, no excuses. Influence rules. All those kinds of things. So we have something called the PodRocket Academy, Influence Academy, PodRocket Influence Academy, which is at podrocketacademy.com. If you want to start improving, I think this is what might be most important for you. Not all of you advisors, but some of you. If you've got somebody in your office who's responsible for marketing, make sure you pay for them to go here. Mm-hmm. We have 8 office hours a month. Your marketing assistants or yourself can come and talk to influence engineers who will help you. There's more really cool stuff coming out in the new year. Matt and I just did a video talking about how we have, I think, 7 products coming out in the next 18 months.
Yep.
We're so excited and so proud of what we're building here. I know we can't wait to do more and more for everybody in this industry. There are all kinds of training inside the academy. There is a way for the next couple of months to get in there for free and get some of the courses. Mm-hmm. We call our 100 level courses, beginner courses. And then I think stuff changes in February. So if you want a couple months head start, you better get in there now. I heard we had an incredible membership run here in the last 3 weeks. 400 people have signed
400
up.
400 people, dude.
So we're pretty excited about that. So get in there. Some really great stuff's going to happen in Q1 in 2024. There's always great stuff happening around here because of you guys. Thanks for listening. And we will see you in 2024 because it's when this gets released, we're only a couple days away from it. Yeah. Thank you. And you can see Matt on the other side of the mic real soon. I'll be here sometimes, but Matt is here all the time. Guy shows up and delivers. Thank you. Happy holidays.